we got this Mercedes-Benz AMG GT63 S for 30% to value. 30%. This car brand new. They're talking about 180,000 vehicle fully loaded. We picked up this vehicle at the insurance auto auction for about $60,000. Yeah, you heard that right, about $60,000. You times that by 3, you got 180, right? So we picked this up. This vehicle had very minor damage on it. It was a theft recovery vehicle. There was some damage along this passenger side here that you're actually currently looking at.
Just continuing off what Kyle was saying, this is how the vehicle looked whenever it arrived on the truck. I was just doing a visual walk around on this vehicle to see exactly the extent of the cosmetic damage. Unfortunately, the car was covered in super minor scratches. You can see my operations manager Joey there trying to get the front lip to clip back into the bumper. Tires were flat, of course. It genuinely looked like the car was just, sitting in a sand lot. It was just covered in dust and rocks and gravel. You can see up in that close-up, you could have seen that the scratch that was on the door. This one, you'll see that flat tire in the front. The rims were also damaged pretty severely. These were also a set of Vossen wheels. They were about $4,000 or $5,000 whenever the original client would have purchased them. So a super nice set of wheels that we, wanted to get back into top condition. Taking the vehicle off was not fun. We actually had to get some 2x4s under those front wheels. This is a clip of when the car first got washed just to see what damage would remain after a quick rinse. You can still obviously that the tires are flat. We had to put 4 brand new tires on the car, and we ended up having to paint the entire passenger side to really get those scratches out. And then here you can actually see our man Dan getting the wheels painted for us, fixing some curb rash and doing a color change on them.
This vehicle had, because it's got the matte paint job along the side, we picked it up. We thought that maybe we'd just be able to buff it out, but I don't know what you guys know about matte paint jobs, but this vehicle taught us a lesson. So if any of you guys are looking at a matte vehicle and you're thinking about being able to possibly be able to buff out the paint or something like that, I'm gonna tell you right now from experience, it ain't happening, right? So we already tried it. We tried everything that we could not to have to paint this car, but ultimately we ended up having to send it to paint. And we believe that that is ultimately why this vehicle became a branded title. So it does have a branded title. This is actually a rebuilt title car. This whole vehicle down the side had scrapes along the side of it. It had a very minor amount of damage along the front bumper. We had to send it to the paint, but we had this whole side painted. We had the front bumper painted, the rear bumper painted. Then we blended along the panels on the other side of this car. Overall, I mean, the whole paint job might have cost us somewhere about $4,000 or $5,000. We also had to get a new GPS module for it because the people who stole it, they took the GPS module out. But this vehicle actually, for me, it was a dream come true. I had it on my vision board of what I wanted as far as a dream car about 3.5 years ago. And I kind of buried it for a while, didn't really think about it, had some other stuff going on, different things that I was interested in. But I had this vehicle on my list at the auction, and when it came up and I saw the price for it, I couldn't let it pass by. So I took a chance, and man, we got us a beautiful car here at a fraction of the cost of what it would be new. This vehicle still a 2022, only has like 8,000 miles on the odometer. I mean, it's still like a brand new car. It has the beautiful 21-inch Vossen wheels, has the yellow AMG calipers that is very, is known, Mercedes-Benz AMG, they're known for the yellow brake calipers. You have the gloss exterior accent package with the mirror caps, all of the window trim. You have the carbon interior package on the inside. You have the whole navigation screen-to-screen sunroof. It's black with the suede on the interior of this vehicle. But yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful car inside and out. And I mean, when you're talking about like a luxury high-end performance car, you really just can't beat this AMG for what it offers. Me personally, you either really like the matte paint or Maybe you're not a fan of it. For me, I think it makes this car really pop. You know, I've seen them where they're just either white or just either black. And, you know, the matte paints that Mercedes-Benz is bar none. I think they do it better than anybody else. And this car with the black on black, with the matte, with the black interior, with the black Vossen wheels, it just goes really well together. And we picked this car up exactly how it sits, except like what I said, we had to paint the passenger side of the vehicle. We had to paint the front and rear bumpers, and then we blended around the outside of the car. We also added a tune to this vehicle. So this car comes from the factory with about 670 horsepower. With the tune that we put on it, it's about 750 horsepower now. So, I mean, this thing's like a little rocket ship, and it just gets up and go. And man, for me, again, this is something that I really thought about for a long time. It was a goal car of mine, and when it came up at the auction at the fraction of the cost, I couldn't pass it up. So we went ahead, we took our chance on it, and I would have loved if we could have, you know, buffed out the side of it. But again, I'm going to tell you guys, any of you guys who see this matte paint job and you think that you might be able to buff the paint job out, I'm telling you right now, it's not happening. We tried everything that we could to get around having to paint this car. But ultimately, at the end of the day, we just had to bite the bullet and paint it. But I mean, it's just a beautiful car inside and out, beautiful engine, beautiful trunk. And I mean, it's just a really nice car. Let's pop the hood and show you what we got up under there.
This is Dylan with Redemption Auto, and as Kyle said, this is our 2022 Mercedes-Benz AMG GT63 S, absolutely one of the baddest sedans on the market. You know, an M5's not touching this. There's not an Audi that's touching this. Whatever car you want to bring up that has 4 doors and can fit a bunch of people, it's not going to touch this. Kyle actually came from being a diehard Mopar Hellcat guy. And after a few days of getting used to turbos instead of a supercharger, it changed his life. I don't think he's going to go back to a Mopar after driving this thing. Something truly special about these cars is the power plant. So Mercedes has been using this engine for quite a while. Aston Martin also takes this engine from Mercedes, applies their own tune to it. But what makes this engine so special is it's a 4-liter bi-turbo V8, and it actually has a hot V turbo setup. So instead of having, you know, turbos down on the side of the motor with, you know, turbo manifolds going up to the exhaust ports, you can actually see your turbos literally right here. So what makes that so unique is they actually swap the intake and exhaust ports on the cylinder head. So the exhaust faces inside and the intake faces outside. But because they're able to put the turbos right there, there's a whole lot less turbo lag. So because there's not really a restriction between the manifold and the turbos, there's not a lot of back pressure. It can spin them way quicker. So you don't really have a whole lot of turbo lag, which you will with a lot of the more expensive cars. As Kyle said, this vehicle does have a tune. He overestimated the stock power a little bit, but it's okay. Stock, these are about 640 horsepower. With the tune that we applied, just a stage 1 tune, no other performance modifications needed. Bumped the power up to about 750 at the crank. So this thing absolutely boogies. Coming over to the wheels, as Kyle said, this is on some aftermarket Vossen wheels. Beautiful, beautiful wheels. Whenever we purchased the vehicle, they weren't black. I think the black really gives it a beautiful stealth look. The brake rotors sitting behind are just a few millimeters shy of being 400 millimeter brake rotors. The only other car I personally know of that you get this size brakes in is going to be your ultra performance McLarens, Lamborghinis, Ferraris. These are absolutely massive brakes. The caliper, of course, Kyle said, you know, AMG loves their yellow calipers. The calipers on the front are a 6-piston caliper. So the brake force is truly ridiculous, but you also need that because of this vehicle's size and weight. So I mean, this vehicle weighs about as much as a Hellcat, a little over 4,000 pounds. You need a way to stop that when you're also accompanying that with almost 800 horsepower. Matte paint, absolutely beautiful. Nobody does it like Mercedes when it comes to the matte paint. Very expensive to fix, as Kyle went over, but when it is right, it is just absolutely stunning. Moving over to the back, The brakes are a little smaller on the back. The caliper is only a 1-piston floating caliper, so it actually moves with the brake rotor under braking. You can also see that both rotors on the front and back are drilled. That's going to help with the heat dissipation along with the slots in them as well. Kyle did go over this rear wing for you guys. Rear wing obviously helps just keep that back end planted. It does change with both your drive mode and the speed you're actually going. So the faster you go, the more wing angle you're going to get, the more downforce you're going to get sucking you down to the road. And then coming around to the driver's side. Coming around to the driver's side, hopping on in. Of course, you have the Mercedes ambient lighting. And as Kyle said, one of his favorite features is just this absolute massive screen you get for both your infotainment and then also your vehicle information like speed, miles, everything like that on your main screen over here. Oh, didn't mean to turn that on for you guys. Down here in the center console, you're going to see all your different modes. So you got your dynamic/race up here, obviously your suspension settings, your transmission mode, traction control, your rear wing, and of course the exhaust. This vehicle just sounds absolutely insane. You're going to hear a clip of that right now. But this is truly one of the craziest super sedans on the market. And as Kyle said, we got this for about 30% to actual value. So we got an absolute steal on this machine. Even though we had to reinvest our money to get it right, it is just absolutely gorgeous, and Kyle's in love with it.